Hi! So, the previous Nightreign video did pretty well, enough for me to attempt soloing the everdark sentient pest on all characters. The format of this video will be pretty similar to the previous Nightreign video. Dude, I had so much fun running the bugs over and over and over, so let's ball. You already know who it is, so this will be very easy against everdark sentient pest. With this follow-up that gives greatswords the fire affinity, I'll basically never run out of good options against the bugs. But just in case at the start, we check the merchant for potential fire weapons and see a magma whip, so that's plan B for whatever reason. I'm still rocking the Everjail buff, so we're aiming for keys and I pick one up in this fort. I get a flamberge from the guardian golem, which is just a straight upgrade from Wilder's starting greatsword. I grab money from my first jail, which was Nox duo, then I grab a smithing 2 before the first circle closes. I get garbage from some flowers. After that, I grab money from a bloodhound knight who almost cooked me. I do some nearby ruins and I find a dead body that had 2 stone sword keys, so I grab them and open my next jail, which were the beastly brigade. The beastly boys. I quickly take their money and I pick a fight with a flying dragon, and while I do a nice chunk of their health, they keep stalling me as the final circle closes for the night, so I GTFO. I get Tibia Mariner and Those Who Live in Death, who then drop some awful stuff, so fuck me, I guess. I pop open a jail and take stance breaking from a Grave Warden duelist. I slap a Draconic Tree Sentinel and then I pick up Huff and Steeple from him, so I'm pretty happy with that. I trade with the Godskin Apostle and then take his money. I finish off the Flying Dragon from night 1 and I grab another awesome Greatsword and Death's Poker. I fold a nearby Erdtree Avatar and it also drops a Huff and Steeple, so I guess I'm just gonna have 2 of them now. I open a jail and take the Crucible Knight's wallet. I slap an Elder Lion for level 15, then kick around a nearby Fire Cathedral for fun until the final night circle closes. My final night boss is Magma Worm and I get more stamina from him. As per usual, I grab a Wending and a Crimson World tier and I head towards the bugs. So up next is the Birdman. The magic attacks from the moth are going to be a little sketchy with the Guardian's bum-ass roll, but we'll see how it goes. And luckily we have a decent bit of fire on the map. I take down the flame chariot camp and I grab the cranial vessel candle stand, so I guess within the first minute of the run I got my weapon for the fight. I open my first jail and it's goddamn dragonkin, so we struggle for a while until I take his money. In the middle of the struggle, giant bubbles start to form, which is so terrible for Guardian, but whatever. I finish off Dragonkin quickly to level high enough to be able to fend off against Augur. I slap Augur as fast as a level 4 Guardian could, and I whack the Grafted Scion a tiny bit before the first night circle closes fully. Not a great start to the run where I only did like 3 things. Fortunately, I got Centipede Demon as my night boss, so thank god it was something like not super fucking annoying. I grab HP off successful guards just in case I do decide to like is it like Iron Guard, Steel Guard, whatever, his passive, Sentient Pest for some reason, but mostly because everything else was kind of shit. I went to the closest jail and goddamn it was fucking Godskin Duo. I take their money, I finish off the Grafted Scion from earlier, then I torched and also a Tree Spirit and an Ancient Hero of Zamor. I blow up some nature which drops Great Stars, another Great Hammer, which the Cranial Vessel Candle Stand is as well, so I can power stance them together, giving me fire damage and bleed, and a very brain off strategy of jump L1. Like before for Wilder, I just kill people in the Fire Cathedral for fun while the second night circle closes, and I get Draconic Tree Sentinel as my night boss, which gives me a little more trouble than when he was just a small widow-free boss. And instead of a Birdman, I was John Nightreign. Anyway, we grab improved class. From the merchant, we pick up a Wending, we level up, pick up a Crimson World Tier, and we shoot some bugs. I don't think it's too far-fetched to say that Iron Eye is just straight up broken in terms of both co-op and solo, and with something that splits your attention like Sentient Pest, it may seem overwhelming at first, but really once you've done it as a squishy melee, you don't fear much as Iron Eye, especially with his skill. I quickly grab a smithing 2, then I open my first jail, which is Crystallians. Thankfully I have like a axe hammer thing, I don't know, jawbone axe thing, so it's serviceable and I take their money. I slap a black knife assassin, slap a crucible knight from a jail at the edge of the storm. As the final night closes for night 1, I try to down the nearby tree sentinel, but I just barely don't have enough DPS to finish him off before I see my night boss ads, which is goddamn Tibia Mariner shit again. I finish off the tree sentinel quickly, then I slap a magworm on the other side of the map, which actually drops some nice stuff like a winding and a pelvic steeple. But I end on the magma blade for its Ash of War. I slap Bellbearing Hunter, who whooped my ass for a while. Funnily enough, Margaret invades my dead-ass body, and it ends up glitching out my map with just making it red with his presence, even though he spawns and he fucks out immediately since I died on his initial spawn. Anyway, I grab a nice bloody Helix from the Bellbearing Hunter. Then I blow up a dog who I blow up a dog who drops a bow with a nice passive. After kicking some rocks, waiting for the final night boss, who's the Nox Dragon Kid, I grab increased physical attack power and hid inside the goop. I level up, grab a graze, and then go bug hunting. This is going to be interesting due to Tetris's overall smaller range with daggers and magic not being super effective against the bugs. We'll try our best though by getting some jails. I grabbed some money off the Nox Duo jail. I tried my luck against a fire monk who drops a fire rotten great axe, which might be a nice backup should I need it. And then an event I haven't seen yet appears, which is the Flame of Frenzy. Luckily it's pretty easy and you just gotta kill the Frenzy guys. And it's pretty fortunate since Frenzy also does pretty well against the bugs, since Frenzy also does fire damage. I grabbed extra runes for some reason and Vikes War Spear. I slapped the Grafted Scion underneath the castle for a Bloody Helis. The Talisman chest also had winged sword insignia, so that was fantastic. I end up waiting around for the first night circle to close all the way, and I got greeted by Battlefield Commander. I grab increased enemy damage after crits, which is kind of useless against the bugs, but I'll take it when it's like this early in the round. I slap an Erdtree Avatar quickly and grab more dodge frames since the freaking bats were on my ass. I also put down a Crucible Knight and grab their wallet. Then I head towards the Shifting Earth of Crater, and some giant fucking hands block the way. Bloody Helis actually impresses me, and it does very well against the mobs here. I have a tough time choosing what to get, so I just grabbed the HP Restoration upon attacks Talons. I actually upgrade the Bloody Helis. Helis or Helis, dude? I actually upgrade the Bloody Helis. I was so impressed. I had extra time, so I slapped some mobs until the final circle. I got Draconic Tree Sentinel again as my final night boss, and there wasn't anything spectacular, so I grabbed Affinity Damage Negation to hopefully mitigate some magic stuff from the Moth. Inside the group, I level up twice, pick up a Safety Wending and a Starlight Shard, and I go towards bugs. Bugs. So as everyone knows, Raider is pretty unga bunga, and luckily there's a couple of fire stuff on the map. I deal with some flame chariots and grab a fire banished knight's greatsword, which isn't terrible, but it's also not a colossal weapon. I tried my luck again against a fire monk, but he doesn't drop any fire weapons. Well, shit, I guess I'm stuck with a greatsword. I open my first jail of the run, and it's fucking banished knights. They kick my ass even when I try to finish them off in the storm, but I eventually end them and take their money. I have better luck with my next jail as they're Crystallians, and I am a giant man. As I finish eating the rock, what the fuck? As I finish eating the rocks, the first night circle starts to close, and I quickly pick up more stance breaking. Stupidly enough, I throw myself at the nearby bell-bearing hunter, and after a proper ass whooping as the receiver, I sneak my runes out and breathe a sigh of relief upon seeing the ulcerated tree spirit as my night 1 boss. I grab sudden enemy death because I think it'd be funny if it procs ever, and I throw myself back at Bellbearing Hunter. After a long battle, I finally end him, and he gives me piss and shit as drops. So great, that was worth all my time. After hoping the magma worm would drop some kind of fire colossal, he instead drops Alpha K Helfin Steeple, which fine, I guess. I choose the Flamberge to upgrade to legendary, since now I could just kind of power stance the Flamberge and Helfin Steeple and jump L1. After bullying some people inside the crater, I have to deal with Draconic Tree Sentinel as my final night boss, which wasn't too bad. Why is it still him again? I grab more health, go inside the goop, where I level, grab a Wending, grab 2 Crimson Flasks. Afterwards, I go bug. Revenant is Revenant, as always. Forever squishy, summons that suck after night 1, but damn if that's gonna stop me from maining her. I will gladly use the everdark pest relic, where it just shoves a fuckload of FP into me. I slap a Grave Warden Duelist and take his money. I check a nearby fort and grabs a giant seal, so that's already great for us. There was a secret chest that had a nice Dragon Communion seal in it with reduced spell cost. I open another jail and I get Crucible Knight. I take Solaria's money and then I head into the mines for Smithing 2. Then motherfucking Margaret invades right as I begin to smack the troll, and I have to run out to actually have space to fight him, and unfortunately level 6 Revenant is just too bit of little damage to kill him before he kills me. So great, now we have a defense debuff within like the first 10 minutes of the run, and I think about restarting and take my despair out on a tree. I actually see a promising Dragon Communion seal, which I didn't really like the passive, and Grail's Roar seemed okay, but it really relies on my summons taking aggro for enough time for the Roar to actually be safe, so I just take the damage Dragon perk instead. And also I have the other one with reduced spell cost from before, so it's whatever. While the first night circle is very close to its end, closing, anyway, I open the nearest jail, if not just to have a weaker enemy to bop for night 2. And luckily it's pretty easy in Bloodhound Night. Unfortunately I forgot to heal before taking a perk, so I do end up dying, but I took his money, so surely I'll totally be fine for this night 1 boss. Thankfully I get Ulcerated Tree Spirit, so it was actually being chosen as a level 7 Revenant. I also get FP upon successive attacks, so despite the Margaret debuff, I feel awesome. I grab my money back and slap a Frenzied Troll. Then I head to the merchant because he actually has some pretty nice stuff like a Bloody Hellas, whatever, and an Iron Shield that had multiple glint blades on it, so I give up my starting armament, the giant seal, in favor of those, and I plan on using the Dragon Communion seal anyway, so now my main weapons are purple and therefore don't need a Smithic 2. So I don't know what the hell is wrong with me as I pick a fight with Bellbearing Hunter, but I must be locked in since it wasn't all that bad, but he dropped some bullshit, so oops, I suppose. So funnily enough, and my voice just cracked. So funnily enough, I move onto Draconic Tree Sentinel and I immediately get humbled, and by that I mean I get fucking one shot, so that's cool. I zone him out strategically and pick up Discus of Light like a moth to a lantern. The Golden Hippo actually drops something amazing in increased incant potency. Speaking of, I go to a seal check and there's a giant seal with triple rings and successive attacks negate damage, so I just switch out the other seal with just Discus because more ring, more better. The other goat, Sorcerer's Rise, also had max HP, so I feel great despite the early game hiccups. Like the cannon, I bully the shit out of an Omen and take his money. And as the final night circle closes, I beat up some nature. Unfortunately for the triple wings. Unfortunately for the triple rings of light I picked up earlier, the Deathrite bird bears witness to the power of Christ and folds over like a lawn chair. And like Satan himself possesses this bird, there's hot fucking garbage in here, so whatever, great. It's time for the final night boss. I got Magma Worm, so it was pretty chill. I grabbed an amazing 11% boost to incant, so these bugs are going to burn fast. Inside I level, grab a safety winding and bug. Bug. So before recording, I tested out if I could solo on what I believe are the weakest solo characters, which is Guardian for melee and Revenant for range. So going into Recluse with their magic cocktails for this made me feel more confident. After clearing the initial camp, I do a nearby rise, and there's a very nice Gelmir staff with built-in poison resistance, so it's hard to give up. I slap a Bloodhound Knight for his money and take a wholly inseparable sword from an Abductor Virgin, which allows me to easily do the Flame Chariots camp and grab more FP. Not just that, there's another Flame Chariots camp near that one, so here you go. I pick up the crystal staff from them, then use that to shotgun blast his Omen from a jail. I Shinzo Abe this fire monk who actually drops an even better crystal staff, so that's pretty funny. There's another Flame Chariot camp. I just pick up improved stance breaking as a night circle closes in on me. My night boss is Smelter Demon, so it took some time. It wasn't particularly hard, but being squishy with a constant dot tick really makes it more interesting. Like some cruel joke, I also get trash perks, so whatever. I go for the nearby Elder Line, I take some money off Siluria, and go moose hunting. After that, I grab a Smithing 2, and after feeling a little bored, I kick this guy off his horse. Then I run into a brick wall called Crystallians, but it's fine as I eat them and obtain their powers. I struggle to get some Banished Knights, you know how it is, and my final night boss is Nox Dragonkin Soldier, so it took a bit of time. And I'm actually rewarded with some great stuff like the Flames of Frenzy while walking, which procs every time I cast spells, or Magic Cocktail, a regular ass affinity boost was always nice, and an extra wending. I'm like thinking here, I would have 3, including the one I have in the goop. I would have 3, including the one in the goop room, so I debate whether or not I really need a 4th res. I ultimately choose the Flames of Frenzy for the frenzied flames when casting stuff. Then I head inside the goop where I level, debate which giant seal to upgrade, and pick up another wedding and a Starlight Shard. After which I head toward Bug. finally, the executor. It's dawning on me as the run goes on that I would not be able to rely on my kit as much as the others, like Wilder and Iron Eyes, so it'll just be a straight and honest melee fight against the bugs. Anyway, I slap some Bubble Boys and then do my first jail of Crystallians, where I luckily had a shield, which, not gonna lie, is probably my favorite way to deal with them. Afterwards, I beat up a Crucible Knife, then a Black Knife Assassin. As the first night circle starts to close, I slap a Frenzied Troll and head into the circle where I have to deal with Centipede Demon. After that, I head towards the castle and check up top where there's an Erdtree avatar waiting for me. The drops were kind of ass, so I check underneath and deal with the ancient hero of Zamor. And I finally get something somewhat promising in the God Slayer's Greatsword, which is a colossal sword, by the way. Then I head south, and at this point in the run, Demi-Human Queen just kind of folds after a few hits. But she drops something pretty nice in additional physical damage. I don't feel very confident in this build, but we ball anyway. Probably because I got boned at every Stone Sword key check. Anyway, I get Magma Worm as my final night boss, which is fine and it goes down pretty easy. I also get Flames of Frenzy off him, so that's great, and I go inside Goop. I level up, upgrade my katanas even though I don't plan on using them. I grab a Wending and a Crimson Bubble Tear, and it's time for the final bugs. hey, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and subscribe. It helps tell me whether or not I should keep doing stuff like this, and I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts in the comments below. But otherwise, thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.